I kept working out as if I was still playing. I would go out running and lifting weights and all that. After about 2 years, that's when I slow down and stop going to the gym and stuff like that. But yeah, I got back on track, and yeah, there's no stopping now because there's no finish line. So gotta keep going, and gotta train for life.
Hi everyone, welcome to this week's episode of The Book. This week we have a special guest that came a long way. Tomorrow the Alouettes play the Calgary Stampeders at McMahon Stadium. So we have a really special guest, somebody I've known for a long time. I've had a chance to see him on TV for a long time before I met him. He's been on TV for a long time, a TV host, analyst, and a reporter for RDS. So Didier Orméjuste, thank you very much for coming.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. Really happy to have the chance to see you. It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Yeah,
exactly. Last time, you've interviewed me a few times. I've had the honor to be interviewed by you a few times. Now we're reversing the roles. So
I know. I don't feel comfortable getting interviewed. I'm used to asking the question. So we'll see how that goes.
That's right. Non, j'espère que t'as passé un bon voyage.
Oui, long vol, mais ça a bien été. Ça a bien été. La température est belle ici à Calgary, donc c'est parfait.
Parfait. So just so you know, you guys, obviously we have the French connection, but this is a very awesome opportunity to connect. We've talked about this for about 3 months now.
Yeah.
Didier is the man that never ages. It looks the same.
Black don't crack. That's what they say.
That's what they say, but you are the true testament of that. I remember watching your TV since the early 2000s. You look the exact same, and then I looked at all your pictures from when you played in college, same. I'm like, this guy never ages. I don't know, do you do something special? Do you put special cream? What is it?
No, man, cocoa butter lotion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But no, obviously, I watch what I eat. Trying to stay away from processed food, from sugar, as much as possible. It's nothing really complicated. Whole food. You know what I mean?
It's the discipline as well, right?
Yeah, the discipline. To wake up in the morning, go to gym when you could just sleep in. You know what I mean? But I need to be moving. I mean, we're made to be moving, not to be sitting on the chair 8 hours a day. So, and I'm fortunate that my job also makes me move. I'm not sitting in an office. So just exercise. Clean eating, the basic stuff, nothing like fancy. You always see people, on social media coming up with those new diets and stuff like that. But I stick to the basics and avoid processed food as much as possible.
Oh, you're doing the right things. Keep on what you're doing.
Thank you. But, it wasn't always like that. After I was done playing, a couple of years after I was done playing, I started gaining weight. You know what I mean? And obviously, I'm a big guy, but I went up to over 300 pounds at some point. Yeah. The heaviest I got was 303.
303.
Yeah. It had been I had completely stopped working out. And that was probably one of the biggest mistakes I ever made. You know what I mean? Because I would look around at work and no one was, working out or anything like that. And I was like, let me just focus on work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Trying to get somewhere, in this business. But by doing that, I completely lost myself.
Yeah.
I've always been an athlete. You know what I mean? Like I grew up, running track, playing football. I tried other sports also, but I wasn't really good. But that was a big mistake because, as I said, I completely lost myself, gained a bunch of weight, gained, over 50 pounds.
Wow.
And so I remember I went to the gym one day. It had been a long time since I worked out. After training, I stepped on the scale, and then I saw the first number being a 3.
For the first time.
Yeah, for the first time. I thought it was maybe 275, 285 at the very most.
Yeah.
But when I saw a 3, I was like, oh my God, I'm an offensive lineman. It's like, that can't happen. So I was all right, let me just jog right away. It was in winter. I want to say probably February, January, but it was really cold. But I was like, all right, I need to jog home right away. You know what I mean? And I was used to jogging, for half an hour, easy. And after about 5 minutes, I had to stop. I thought I was about to go into cardiac arrest. I thought I was going to get a heart attack. Remember, I got home, I only removed my boots, and then I sat on the couch with my parka. And yeah, man, I was completely out of breath.
Wow.
And then that's when I was like, I need to make some changes. You know what I mean? So
well, you've done a phenomenal job. Obviously, sometimes that's, it's weird when you're playing football and you're always regimented. You always have people say, "Oh man, you're so disciplined." You are disciplined, but you're also told what time you got to go work out, where you got to be, what time you got to do. And you also know that if you're not in shape, your job will be taken away from you.
You're not going to be playing.
That's right.
You're going to be on the sideline.
Exactly.
And that's the thing, right? You always have that in the back of your mind, all year round. Like, okay, I want to start. Next year, I want to start. I want to do this. I want to do that. So the motivation to work out is easy, when you're an athlete. But once you're done playing, where's the motivation?
That's right.
There is no training camp coming up.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So it gets boring. Like I remember for the first 2 years after I was done playing, I kept working out as if I was still playing. I would go out running and lifting weights and all that. But after about 2 years, that's when I slow down and stop going to the gym and stuff like that. But, I got back on track. That was about like, I want to say, more than 15 years ago now. I mean, but yeah, I got back on track, and there's no stopping now because there's no finish line.
That's awesome.
That's one thing I realized. There's no finish line, so gotta keep going.
For sure.
And gotta train for life. It's not even about training for aesthetics or anything like that. It's just training for life to be healthy, and just to enjoy yourself. Because once you're in shape, it makes everything easier. Know what I mean? And once you're in shape, physically and mentally also.
It's always funny to watch you on TV. First of all, one thing that I would like people to understand a little bit, because when you say RDS and TSN, always people wonder, is it the opposite? Are they working together? Is RDS the French version of TSN, or is two different entities? What is it?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's one way to describe it, that, RDS is the French version of TSN, right? Because they're both owned by Bell. They're the same company, but obviously they work independently. But, we're trying to help TSN if they ask for some help. Let's say if they need, I don't know, some sun bites from an Alouettes practice or the abs, during hockey season.
Yeah.
So we gladly, send it to them. And, same with them also, vice versa, so, there's a good chemistry,
sure.
I want to say, you know what I mean? Because we're trying to help each other when we have to, but even though they're not exactly the same,
100%.
So, yeah.
So when we watch you as a reporter, obviously I've had a chance to watch you on TV, being from Quebec, from Montreal. When it comes for football, there's a few guys that you see all the time, right? It's you, Pierre Vercheval.
Yes,
Verge. Yeah, exactly. Obviously, now a little bit more like Mathieu Proulx. Sometimes you see him a little bit.
David Arsenault.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you see you guys often, right? And then when you watch you on the sideline and you're interviewing guys, I'm like, you for sure this guy's played some football. This guy is built like, sometimes bigger than all the guys that you're interviewing.
I played a long time ago and I wasn't that good. You know what I mean? Like I got drafted by Edmonton and then I got cut during training camp, and that was the end of that. You know what I mean?
So talk to us a little bit about this, because we've obviously had a chance to talk before. We always kind of see the reporters talking, asking questions, and kind of sharing the stories that they have to tell to everybody else, but they never share their story, right? And I would like to kind of dive into that a little bit. And starting in Montreal.
Hey, ask away, man. Let's go.
Talking about your football journey, how did it start? What was it? What was the motivator? Did you always want to play professional football, or is that just something that you kind of happened? Obviously, your size. There's things that with football you say is you can't teach size, right?
Right.
Did it kind of just fall on your lap, the football journey, or is it just something that you always thought about and something that was motivated by?
No, I kind of stumbled into football, right? Because as I told you, I grew up running track.
Okay.
So for track and field, obviously I was a big guy. I remember like the guys that I would run against. We're all skinny and really short. So I would run the 200 and I would throw the shot put. So I was a sprinter and a thrower, which usually you never see that.
Yeah.
So so I would make the finals at the 200, but I would finish maybe 6, 7. Because I was carrying maybe 40 pounds more than all the other guys. So I remember one summer, at the end of one summer, usually the provincial championships were in first week of August, I want to say.
Yeah.
And maybe last week of July, around that time of year. Anyways, so one year at the end of the track season, my coach asked me, "So what are you going to do now that track season is over?" I told him, "Well, I don't know. Hang out with my friends, after school." He said, "Well, have you ever thought about playing football?" I was like, "Not really." And you have to think that back in those days in Quebec, there weren't any football. I mean, there was some football, but it was more on the Anglophone side.
Yeah.
Obviously there was McGill University, but back then, I'm talking about, it's a long time ago now. I'm going to be telling you my age, but I'm talking about like that was 92, I want to say. So the Laval program didn't exist back then. You know what I mean? So football was really on the ground. And the Alouettes weren't even around.
Was pretty later in Montreal. Did Montreal have a team at the time?
No. The only teams, university team in Montreal at the time were McGill and Concordia. That's it. That's it. So so he asked me, if I'd like to play football. Because they were starting a program in St. Leonard, the St. Leonard Cougars. It was the first year that they had bantam football at that level, at the bantam level. So it just happened that the long distance run coach was the football coach of that team also. So I was like, I'll try it. So I went to practice first day. With jogging shoes on, I didn't have any cleats or anything like that. But right off the bat, I was one of the best players on the team, because I was fast for my size. So I would just use my speed to go around the tackles and stuff like that. Right away, they put me at defensive end. And except for one guy, Éric Desaulniers, like he just blocked me. I couldn't do anything against him, but we ended up being good friends. So so that's how I started playing football, and it was a fit right away. I was good. I was like, all right, finally I found a sport. Like, I felt like I could do something, like I could be good at, at that age. When you're 14, 15 years old as a teenager, you're looking for something that you're good at.
That's right.
So, so that's how it started for me.
And from there, obviously, when you're from Montreal and you get to the Cégep, league, there's always the big name, right? And everybody know the Vieux-Montréal.
Vieux Montréal. That's right.
Everybody knows. I know you came here representing.
That's right. That's right. It's Spartiate.
That's everybody knows, right? And when you play this Vieux-Montréal, you had the Sepsum, you know exactly what house you stepped into.
Back in my days, we're playing at Percival Molson.
Percival Molson?
No way. Not only we're playing in Percival Molson, we're practicing at the Olympic Park. So our locker room was inside the Olympic Stadium, right next to the Expos.
Yeah.
And we were practicing, Saputo Stadium, the soccer stadium. Well, back then the stadium wasn't there. So all you had was a track and a field in the middle of it. So that's where we would practice, at that very spot. So, so again, like that was before the Alouettes came back. So we would play at Percival Molson. And so it's crazy how much and everything has changed since.
Definitely. But it's very interesting to have you, coming here, talking about your journey and talking about the history of the Spartiate, you being a member of that team. Was it the same at the time? When I played, they always had talent. Every year, guys going down the U.S., we won the Ball d'Or almost every year. This was the team to beat, at the time.
That's
right?
how it was in my days, man. I won 3 Ball d'Or in a row. You know what I mean? 3 Ball d'Or, so 3-peat.
That's awesome.
So, but Vanier was good. Lennoxville was good also. And Vanier would always send some players to the state, just like Vieux. Same with Lennoxville at the time. But Vieux-Montréal was a powerhouse. There was a little drought. I mean, right now they're having a long drought without the Ball d'Or, but back then, when I got there, it had been 3 years since les Spartiates had won a Ball d'Or, which is a provincial championship for the people who are watching who don't know in Quebec, and in Cégep. And it felt like it had been like 30 years. You know, looking back, it was like, man, it had only been 3 years. So, but we ended up winning 3 in a row. And so all that to say that, Montreal was a powerhouse. Yeah.
And then how was it? How was the atmosphere at the time? You know, I feel like at that time, there's a lot of guys still going to the U.S. from your program at the time, right? And was that, because obviously knowing that you ended up getting an opportunity to go play across the border,
right?
Was that a motivator when you got to that program that, okay, this is something I want to do because all these guys are doing it, or that's something you had on your sight before you went there?
It's something that I wasn't thinking about. I remember one of the first time that I met Marc Santerre, who was a head coach. You know, he told me, if you're looking to go, you know, to the States, you're the type of guy that could do it. You know, he said, if I introduce you to some coaches right away, you know what I mean? And at the time, I hadn't played one down, you know, at Montreal. He said they would have an interest in you because of your size. I was like, really? I was like, wow. And coming from Marc Santerre, I was like, man.
Marc Santerre is a legend, football legend in Montreal, if people don't know.
Yeah. So a great head coach, great head coach. And I was like, man, that would be cool. But even after he told me that, I thought, you know, I didn't even think that it was something achievable. I remember I would watch Chimanka Biakabutuka playing for Michigan.
Yeah.
And I thought that was like the greatest thing in the world. You know, he was from Longueuil, South Shore of Montreal, playing at Michigan, being a star player. I was like, man, if I could do that, that would be amazing, right? But it's not really until after my first year at Montreal when some of my teammates end up getting scholarships. And they left right away because the season ends in November. So basically less than 2 months later, in January, they were gone, you know, in the States. And when I saw it, I was like, man, okay. Only 2 months ago, I was playing with those guys. And now they're playing in the NCAA. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I should try, you know, I should give it a shot just like them. I remember talking to Coach Santerre, and they told me, well, you know, if you want to go in the States, you need to do better in the classroom. You know what I mean?
Were you struggling in the classroom?
I was lazy. I wasn't struggling. I wasn't even trying. In order to struggle, you have to at least try, but I wasn't even trying. So, okay, I was like, okay. So, you know, started to actually do my homework. You know what I mean? You know, I started, you know, training hard during the off season. And so we ended up going to the Michigan camp in Ann Arbor one year. And I just killed it doing a one-on-one pass rush. So I remember right on the spot, the Toledo defensive line coach, Coach Cool, Craig Kulagowski, was there on the spot. He offered me a visit. So I was like, all right, cool. And then the school offered me a visit also. So yeah, so that's how I ended up getting my scholarship at the University of Toledo. Yeah.
And did you know about Toledo before the camp?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. No, I didn't. No, probably not. No.
So how was the visit there? What drove you to go to Toledo?
Basically, the fact that they were a winning program under Coach Pinkel, Gary Pinkel, at the time, it was a head coach who recruited me. The fact that they were a winning program, like that's all I cared about, you know, because coming from Montreal, you know, I mean, if we lose one game in a season, it was like the end of the world. Yeah, exactly. So I was like, I can't be playing for a losing program. So yeah, that was basically it. Because my visit wasn't great or anything like that, you know what I mean? But yeah, I just wanted to win. So I was like, all right, they're winning, I'm going there, you know? So they didn't put that much thought into it. Looking back, I should have, but you know.
So when you got there at Toledo, obviously expecting to win and having that culture there, was it what you expected?
No, not at all. Because I had teammates, you know, I told you that I played with in CJEP and went to the States. Like they told me, they kind of warned me. It was like, man, you know, it's different down there. You know, if you go down south, you'll see, you know, there's going to be this might happen, you know. And as soon as I got there, I was like, oh, that's what they were talking about. You know what I mean? So I remember the first day I walked into the student union. First, it was a culture shock.
Which state is Toledo?
Ohio. Yeah, Northwest Ohio. It's 45 minutes from Detroit and Windsor. So Northwest Ohio. And so it was a culture shock. Being from Montreal, right? Going to Montreal, the school is downtown. It's multicultural. Everybody hangs out together. you know, and then I get there, it's completely different. Well, first of all, I left in January. So I get there, everybody knows each other from the fall. So I get there, I'm really like an outcast. I don't speak English. Yeah, so that was rough. Like that first semester was rough because I remember I would spend complete days, you know, without speaking to anyone. You know what I mean? Like, except for a few words here and there. But I remember being in class and I didn't want to raise my hand, you know, to ask a question because like, man, people are going to be making fun of me. It's just the minute I open my mouth, they're going to hear my accent. They're going to be like, where's this guy coming from? And only that, also, you know, you're black and you don't speak English. Like for them, it's like, they had never seen, you know, a black person who didn't speak English. And that's coming from black folks and white folks, you know what I mean? So, yeah, so I would wait for after class to go ask my questions, you know, to the teacher, you know?
It's interesting that you brought that up because I also went to a transition like that when I went down to the NFL. And the people, when you go down there and you play football and you're black, they have a certain expectation of how you gonna conduct yourself.
Yes.
And when you don't come across that way,
they don't know how to react.
It's a shock to them. They don't know how to act, right? And sometimes it ends up in jokes, right? Because they're like, they don't know they've never seen that before, right? If you're black, you act like this, that's what you do. And so I can kind of relate to, okay, like I'm black, but I'm French Canadian. You know, my English is broken.
Listen, I could have been from Mars.
Yeah, exactly.
And it would have been the same. Seriously.
Yeah.
Like,
like, where's this guy come from?
Yeah. No, exactly. Like it's like I was a novelty, so kind of down there.
So how was that? You know, you being there. You said you spent days without talking to people.
Yeah, my first semester. Yeah.
When you're in Montreal, people express themselves.
Yes.
Like, people talk.
Yes.
Like, we talk, we joke, you know, like especially coming from a program like yours, there's a lot of laughter, like people laugh, enjoy themselves. You're in the program now, you go from this to like nothing, you know.
I had a crazy phone bill. I got
you just calling people home.
I'm calling my friends back home all the time, you know. And I forgot what was the rate, you know, back in the day. I think it was like 25 cents a minute or something like that. So yeah, man, I had a crazy phone bill.
So why didn't you go back
and
home?
The internet wasn't, you know, it's not like I'm not even sure, like, I didn't even own a computer.
It's not like you can FaceTime someone.
No, there was none of that. None of that. I mean, there were webcams, so the quality wasn't great. Yeah, man.
So now you see a lot of kids going to the U.S. and then coming back. You know, either like the program, the politics, whatever it was, right?
Right.
Why didn't you just go back? You know, when you got there and you're like, this is not what I expected. I can't talk to nobody. Why didn't you go back?
Yeah, well, I thought about it, you know, because there are guys even in my days that, you know, that would go to the States for like a semester or a year, and then they would come back. But, I mean, I thought about it, you know, plus, like, you know, I was only playing on special teams and all that. And plus the stuff, you know, away from football, as I just told you, you know, that wasn't really easy. But the thing is that I was way ahead in the classroom than on the field. What I mean by that is since I went to CJEP, they gave me some credits, right, for some classes that I took. And also, as I told you, I left in January. So by the fall, I was a sophomore already in the classroom. I got redshirted. So I was like 2 years ahead in the classroom compared to on the field, right? So, you know, after 4 years, I was like, you know what? I think I'm done here. So I knew the CFL draft was coming. I was like, okay, I'm going to try once. If it works out, it works out. If not, I need to find something else to do, you know, because I was a bit older also since I went to CJEP. And, you know, I had my friends back home were already, you know, purchasing a house. You know what I mean? And I was broke, you know? So, and I was tired of being broke. You know what I mean? So I was like, I need to make some money somehow, some way. So I was like, you know what? So let me give it a shot. If I get drafted, I get drafted. I'm going to train. I'm going to try. And if it works out, it works out. Turns out it didn't work out. So I got cut during camp. But Edmonton was loaded.
So you got drafted by Edmonton?
Yeah.
And then you went to camp.
Yeah.
How was that experience coming back?
Short. It's short. I mean, the team was loaded. You know, Edmonton ended up winning the Grey Cup that year. Yeah. And especially at my position, defensive end, like they had Alfred Payton, who's in the CFL history sack leaders. But he was a great guy. He was a great player. He was fun to be around. That's what I remember. They had Raheem Abdullah, who was another defensive end. He was a former, I want to say, second-round pick in the NFL, and he could run. Like, he could just run. Like, it was crazy. So, yeah, that team was stacked. And as I said, I didn't play. And it's hard to improve as a player if you're not playing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Practice is practice, yes, but practice can only take you so far. At some point, you need to get on the field. Yeah. To be how'd you say that? To be in live bullets. You know what I mean? Like to be in the action.
That's when you can truly make adjustments to your game. Like you go and practice. You practice against the same guy. You kind of get into a routine of things. But in the game, that's when you can actually apply things, go back. You know what it feels like. You can try something else. That's where actually when you take those big strides, right? And it's hard to do that when you're not playing.
Yeah, when you're not playing. And one of the reasons also I didn't play, I wasn't taking care of business in the classroom as I was supposed to. You know what I mean? Because you're a student athlete. Yeah. Student first, athlete second. You know what I mean? And first time being away from home, you know what I mean?
You have some freedom.
Yeah, you have some freedom and stuff like that, distractions, trying to party, just what a regular college student is doing. But if you don't get up the next morning to go to class, that's a problem.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So I wasn't disciplined, I wasn't focused. And that's one thing I admire. A couple of weeks ago, I interviewed Mathieu Bergeron, plays for the Atlanta Falcons, and he's so focused, and he's always been like that. I remember when I interviewed him, and he was playing at Syracuse, he was the same way. Same thing with Benjamin Saint-Just. First time I met him, he was just done playing at Montreal, I think, and you could tell, like he had a good head on his shoulders. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like he was a smart kid, and I just admired that because remember the way I was. When I was their age, I was nothing like that. You know what I mean? So, and it's one thing after I was done playing, you kind of look inward, kind of reflect, and you're like, you know what? I left a lot of gas in the tank, by not being focused, by not being where I needed to be, when I needed to be there.
Does that bother you? Now being in the position that you're in, always being around athletes, you always got the guys that have done playing the sport, and they're just angry. They're mad, and they always talk about what they used to be.
Yeah, they live in the past.
They live in the past.
But guess what? The past doesn't exist.
That's right. But there's people that just struggle. But you always being around these athletes, and you feel like, okay, I left some gas in the tank. Do you reflect on that? How does that make you feel?
Well, I used that as a motivation because I made the decision that I would never do that again. You know what I mean? After college, like when I came back to Montreal, and I was like, all right, I'm never going to do that again. If I want to do something, I'm going to put my heart into it. And if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I realized that you can't. It's hard to achieve something if you're not all in. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I decided, all right, no more half measures. You know what I mean? So that's why when I went back to school, I decided that, okay, I wanted to work in front of the camera. I went all in. I went all in. I was like, this may not work out. But I was like, the only way it's going to work out if I gave my 100%. If I put all my heart into it. I may end up suffering for a broken heart, but that's the risk to take, right?
That's right.
So, So no, as I said, the past doesn't exist, but you have to learn from it. And I think I've learned from it. I've learned from my mistakes. I always make mistakes, you know what I mean, until this day. But I think I learned from that. So I want to say that I became a better person. Definitely. And so it changed me because I decided, all right, I don't want to be that person no more. That person that, doesn't put everything he has into something, you know what I mean?
And in that transition, how much time did it take you to, was it more of like, okay, I got cut from the Eskimos and the light switch, or it took some time? What was that transition like for you?
It was a process. It took years, really, because I got cut by the Eskimos, and then I started working at RDS. Maybe I want to say about 4 months later, maybe. But I was about to tell you that I started working there once a week as a stats and research guy on NFL games on Sunday, because the regular stat guy had a schedule conflict. Because the Alouettes back then would play Sunday at 1 p.m., at the same time as there's, bulk of the NFL games. So they were looking for someone to do the stats. So that's how I started, once a week, doing the stats on NFL games on Sundays. And that went well. And then I started, working on other gigs, on doing stats on hockey games, tennis, IndyCar racing, you name it, So, I did well there, and then they offered me a full-time position. So I took it, and
So when you got into that, because when you get out of college and you go and you get an opportunity with that kind of a brand, right? What was that for you? Did you kind of, oh man, they're giving me an opportunity?
It wasn't like that because we didn't have cable at home growing up. So I didn't grow up watching RDS like most people in Quebec because we didn't have cable. You know what I mean? Like I knew of RDS. Obviously, when I would go to my friend's house, they would have cable.
But at home, you didn't watch TV as much.
No, I would watch TV, but I wouldn't watch RDS because we didn't have cable. You know what I mean? So I would watch the stuff. You know what I mean? So I knew what it was, but I guess since I didn't grow up watching it, it didn't seem that big to me. You know what I mean? And also with sports. And as I told you, I grew up playing sport, and I was like, all right, I think I have something that other people don't experience in sport. You know what I mean? So, So I felt like it was a fit right away, even when I was in college, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I started as a business major, which went terrible, because I was never good with numbers. I hated math. Took accounting 1, then I got to accounting 2. I was like, I'm in way over my head. Same thing with calculus 2. Once I got to calculus 2, I was like, man, this is insane. I can't be doing it. I remember I went to see the woman that was taking care of her classes, and I told her, I was like, I need to switch program or else I'm just going to flunk out. And that's how I ended up in communication. But I thought, okay, perhaps I would work in public relations because I really enjoyed the public relations classes I took. And so I basically stumbled, into working into television, in a way. Yeah.
Were you, when I see you talk on behind the mic, you always seem very comfortable, right? It's just it flows very well. You speak very well. It feels like it's like second nature for you. Was it always easy to you, or there was a transition?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all, man. I remember the first time I went on air, I was so nervous. I was working as a sideline reporter on a CIS football. At the time it was called CIS.
No, it's U Sport.
Yeah, no, it's U Sport, yeah. And I was so nervous. My hands were shaking when I was holding the mic. And it was terrible. And but it's all about reps, getting repetition. We talked about it before I started the recording. I'm not working for NASA. We're not trying to land on the moon or land on Mars, okay? But it's about getting some reps in. It's not that complicated, but you need to acquire experience, whether it's through social media or whatever, but it's all about getting some reps. The more you talk in front of a camera, the more you become comfortable, the more it becomes natural, the more you forget that the camera is there. Actually, you're supposed to be thinking that you're talking to one person. you know,
That's
to one
right.
person only. You know what I mean? So, yeah, but it's all about the reps, you know. I worked for CBC French Radio in Toronto on a morning show, and I got some good reps in, you know, yeah. So,
So in talking about the reps, depending on, obviously, even in football, each position have different needs, right? And in this profession that you're in now, you're talking about the reps. In your experience, you know, by example, everybody's, as an athlete, you're good at something, right? The reason why you get to a high level is you're good at something, but there may be something in your game that needs improvement, right?
Right.
And you need to get more reps in that.
right.
As a reporter, for you as a person, what was the thing that you needed the most amount of reps for? What did you struggle the most?
Oh gosh, let me think. You're taking me way back. I mean, what's that struggling the most? I mean, the easy answer would be everything. But actually, you know, to look comfortable on camera, not to look rigid or stiff, you know, kind of, and just to smile, you know, because I would look so serious, and you know, I would actually not even looking serious. I would look menacing. You know what I mean?
Like you on kickoff, about to run on.
Yeah, basically. I remember the teacher would tell me, "You need to smile. Like you look like you're about to kill someone." You know what I mean? Like, so and what's funny is now I'm known to be someone that smiles, you know, on camera, but again, it's because of the reps, you know what I mean? But yeah, I would say that would be the number one thing, you know, like just to be relaxed, you know what I mean? Because I had a tendency to be tense.
Why did you have that? Did you reflect a little bit on why would you feel so tense?
I was just nervous, you know what I mean? I was
that
like, oh my God.
Mechanism for you?
You know what? I think it is because I box. I've been boxing for now almost 7 years, and I still get tense at times. And, you know, I'm just talking about when I hit the mitts. And, you know, my coach, Patrice Vonny, shout out to Patrice, always tells me, man, your shoulders are too tense. Your shoulder are like this. Relax your shoulders, you know, relax your shoulders. You always tell me that, you know what I mean?
But I think it's become football a little bit.
I think so too. You know what? Because I did Pilates, and the Pilates instructor was telling me the exact same thing. It was like your shoulders are so tight constantly, and I think it's from football. You think so?
Yeah, I think because obviously part of what I do as a strength coach is I teach speed. Speed is a big thing I focus on, and they always, when you look at football guys and you make them run, and guys are, man, relax. I'm like, you're asking a linebacker that all he does is running full speed into people to relax.
Yeah.
That's just not part of what they do.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, they have to be on edge all the time.
Right.
You know, there's people flying in, people coming to block them. They got to be, but for now, you're just asking them to relax. It's just not part of his.
To them, it's not natural.
It's not natural, right? For a track guy, relax.
No, you see them, I mean.
They relax, right? They run full speed. There's nothing running at them, you know.
Right.
There's no danger, right?
Yeah.
Other than maybe pulling a muscle.
Yeah, pulling a
You know,
hammy.
exactly. There's no danger, so they relax. But for you, you know, playing football your entire life, being always, you know, and now you have to be on camera and relax. For some people, it comes natural for them, and some others, it's just part of your demeanor, right? And maybe it's not something you really thought about. It's just,
No, man, no, you're probably right. You're probably right. I mean, I was able to get rid of it, you know, for my job working in front of camera. You know, I think I look pretty relaxed. I don't look tense or anything like that. But in boxing, though, it's the opposite, because in boxing, you have to be relaxed.
That's
Even
right.
though you're fighting someone, but you have to be relaxed, because if you're tense, you get tired. You get tired quick.
Yeah.
So you have to be relaxed. If you want to throw your punches, they're going to be faster. They're going to be more powerful if you're relaxed.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
100%. And same in running.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes it just takes time to undo with people.
Right.
What allowed you to relax? What was that switch for you?
You mean like when I was working? I mean, from working in front of the camera on television. I don't know. That's a good question. I think I gained confidence. You know what I mean? I gained confidence with time, with practice. As I said, you know, the reps. It's all about the reps. At some point, something kind of clicked in my head. I was like, all right, I don't need to be tense. I know what I'm talking about. So I guess I just gained confidence. You know what I mean? And that's when I started relaxing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for some reason I can't do it in boxing. I'm getting better at it, but it's still after all those years, I should be better.
Get more reps.
I should, But there's only so many reps I can get because I'm older now. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm not trying to fight anymore. So yeah. So,
I feel you. But when you look at reporters and analysts, and sometimes, like, I look at them like, don't take offense to it. It's so repetitive that this something seems boring. They do the same thing every day, same thing every day, talking about the next day. But
isn't that how it is when you play also? Isn't that how it is when you play also?
True,
you go to practice.
That's true. Day
1, day 2, you go to practice, same warm-up.
Yeah, that's true.
Special team period.
Same thing.
It's the same thing as Kelly.
That's right.
One-on-one pass rush.
That's right. Same schedule. Doesn't matter what team you're on.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Warm-ups, ND.
Yeah.
One-on-ones.
Yeah, there you go. But that's how you get better. You have to embrace the boring.
I feel you.
You have to embrace the boring. You know what I mean? So it's the same thing. And it's not boring because the story is different.
That's true.
Each game is a different story. As you know, something different happens during each game. So no, you're there to tell a story to the people. And the
story is different every day.
Yeah.
There is something in the story in each day that kind of creates some excitement in the job.
I think so. There are days definitely where you have to work harder to find a story to tell. Definitely, especially when you cover football, right? Because teams play once a week.
Yeah,
it's not like let's say if you're covering a baseball team, this has to be so easy. They play every day.
You have a story every day.
Yeah, you have a different story every day. Even hockey and basketball, there's 82 regular season game. They play maybe 3-4 times a week. It's easy to find stories. Football is different. So but there are days where you have to scratch more, to find something, find an angle. That's why I always write notes during the game, and then if I kind of, hit a kind of a roadblock, I go back to my notes. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that's right, that guy, he did have a good game. Or I wrote down something that made me think, okay, I could do a story about that, So,
But I always liked your style. I always feel like there's always a sense of genuineness in the way you talk. But when you talked about angle, that brought me to a reason why, for a long time in my career, I didn't like media. Right? I just, as I got older, I kind of accepted what the, because when you're a young guy, you thought they were out to get you. Exactly.
Because sometimes the coaches tell you that, like they put that into your head that the media is out to get you.
My first year in the NFL, obviously you have the rookie symposium. You spend months being coached on how to talk to media, right? How to do it properly. Obviously, NFL is a big business. Right?
Yeah.
I don't want you to go out there and say something crazy.
Something crazy.
Right? So, and they know that.
Bring shame to the franchise.
Exactly. And they know the reporters are looking for the angle. And being younger, being less patient, being a little bit more of a hothead, I would get mad, right? Like, what are you trying to make me say, right?
Yeah.
Because they're always looking for the angle.
But we'll go ahead.
What is it that, is it something that they try to do on, like now I'm out talking to a reporter.
Right.
Are you asked to do that?
Not anymore, but you have a point, like, because sometimes now, I've been doing this for a while now, so they, they trust me, that I'm able to do my job and stuff like that. But I remember when I first started, sometimes they would come up to me with some angles. I'd be like, I don't know about that. You know what I mean? Like, but also, since they haven't played the game, for them, there's certain angles that they think about, but if you play the game, that's not it. Actually, I have a better angle for you. since you haven't played the game, you don't know about that. Something that I can see on the field happening, or even something I practice also, right? Because that's one of the beauty about covering the CFL. You get to watch practice as a media member. In the NFL, I mean, you're there for 15 minutes in warm-ups and then they kick you out. You can't stay for the whole practice.
Sure.
So, and the best way to learn is by watching. You can learn a lot just by watching.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So, but yeah, sometimes, I mean, listen, everybody is different. Is there some people in the media that try to find some angles, some scandalous angles? Definitely, especially nowadays. You know, everything's about clicks.
Yes, right.
Everything's about numbers. When we were talking about earlier, everything's about numbers. So yeah, some people, I mean, that's their ammo, right?
And especially, you know, when you look at in a room when they're interviewing people, there's like 30 people, right, with a microphone.
Yeah,
and somehow they will go back and try to write the same story. Yeah, but everybody wants the little spice in their story.
Yeah, but because they want to be different, right? Like, as you said, like everybody is writing or talking about the same subject, but you want whatever you're going to say or write to stand out. So how are you going to do that?
That's right.
And then some people are willing to take some crazy road, you know what I mean, to stand out. You know?
Sometimes you read your article like, bro, this is not what I said.
Yeah,
you know
you just twist it. Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. You know what I mean? Clearly, but I always feel like whether it's a player or a coach, you're in control. Like there's no reason to get mad, to get emotional. Like you're in control. It's a game, kind of. Right. You know what I mean? Right. It's a game of chess.
That's right.
So sometimes you can feel that the person asking you the question is trying to take you a certain way, but you don't have to go that way.
That's right.
Especially if you notice that. So I feel like you're in control.
100%.
If there's something you don't want to talk about, just do like those people in politics. You know, 100%. It's a bunch of words that don't really mean anything.
For sure. That's why I said as I got older, I understood what it was about and what they're trying to do, but also what I have to do as
some are trying to do.
Not all of them. But at the end of the day, it's a story you have to tell, right? And you have to understand that a lot of times they have to write a story. Right? But like you said, you're in control of what you say, right?
There you go.
And if you sometimes the less is more, right?
Exactly.
Right? And instead of getting emotional, talking too much, you have to understand how to go about it. But as a young player coming in, when you're in the NCAA, where let's say you played at Ohio State, you have the camera in your face a lot, right? Yeah. When you play in youth sport, you may have the camera in your face maybe a few times in your career.
It's completely different,
So when you come in, you go from youth sport to the NFL and you have these cameras in your face, you don't know.
Yeah, that must have been wild for you.
You don't know how to navigate those things. So you're trying to, okay, what's this is about?
Yeah,
right?
you know, media savvy, like certain player that play in big time programs.
That's right.
Yeah. So that's different. Yeah,
for sure.
So that must have been quite an adjustment for you.
100%. It was understanding. Okay, why? It was mostly why, right? Why they go about things that way. But again, it's not everybody, right? But were you ever put in a position as a reporter where you had to do something, and you don't have to go into details, but where you had to do something that kind of went against what you believe?
Yeah. There's one example that comes to mind. That was a long time ago. It was like when Chris Rainey, when he played, because Chris Rainey started in the CFL with the Alouettes. Okay? I think he has his better years with the BC Lions, but he was
amazing.
He was a great player. He really was.
When he touched the ball, it was like, there's a high chance this is going to be 6.
Yeah, he's going to take it to the house. Yeah. And that's how he was at Florida too. But I can't tell you what year it was. But so Rainey, I forget. Like, it was something that I tweeted, and it was something about his past, you know, because he had an issue in college, and I brought it back. You know, I forget why I tweeted about it. I don't remember what it was for. And I remember I don't remember the year, but it was a year that Chad Ochocinco, Chad Johnson played for the Alouettes.
Yeah.
And the next day I get to practice, and Chad Johnson, Ochocinco, and a couple of players, I can see like they're talking, then looking at me. So I'm like, all right, what's going on? And after practice, I talked to SJ Green, the great SJ Green. And basically what he told me, you know, he was like, look, why are you bringing this up? It happened in the past. And he said, there's so many people in the media who are already doing that. Plus you're a brother. Why are you doing that? And I listened to him, what he had to say. And I thought about it. I was like, yeah, why? And that came from outside pressure, so to speak.
100%.
Because at that time, remember there was a period of time in the NFL, it seemed like every week there was a player that was getting into trouble because he had put hands on a woman or something of that nature. You know what I mean? And so constantly that's what you would see in the media. But what SJ told me, it stayed with me until this day. First, there was no need for me to bring the past of Rini back, you know, because that happened years ago. And sometimes, as you know, what's reported in the paper, in the media, it's not necessarily accurate.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So I was in no position to actually know if what was reported, you know, were facts. And also, you know, what SJ said, you know, that it made me realize that some of the players, at least that I'm covering, were holding me as a higher standard.
Yeah, for sure.
And that didn't meet that standard. You know what I mean?
How did that? That's pretty. It's special for a player to tell you that. You know, to say that. Hey, you know what? Like,
that's why I said the great SJ Green. I didn't say SJ Green. I said the great SJ Green, because SJ Green was a great player for so many reasons, right? Because he spent, I forget how many seasons on the practice roster when he was talented enough to be a starter anywhere else in the league, but just that the Alouettes receivers were so good, so he had to wait his turn. And then finally, when he had his chance, he became, you know, the beast that he was, one of the best receivers. And then the CFL is in the Hall of Fame now. But, you know, he I don't know, I have a ton of respect for him.
For sure.
And you know, because the type of person that he was, that he is, I still hope that he is, you know, till this day. But yeah, he had character. And he talked to me really calmly. It was just pretty much the same way we're talking there.
No anger. Just
no, it was no anger. It was in the locker room at the Olympic Stadium. We talked calmly. I listened to what he has to say. I was like, you know what? He's right. You know? So that till this day, it stayed with me. And I thanked him, you know, for talking to me, taking me apart, and, you know,
Because I think at that moment, you know, he may have made that comment, but he also, to have this character and this level of maturity, to understand that you're not a bad person. You're just doing your job.
Yeah.
And you could have done it differently at the time.
Yeah.
But he just knew that he's just trying to do his job, you know?
Right.
And I think that in that moment, being the person that you are, you took it as a sign of respect, you know, like as a sign of, okay, this guy respect me enough to tell me what it is. And how did you respond to that after that? How did you conduct yourself as a reporter after that comment? Is that something that stuck with you?
Yeah. As I told you, I mean, it's till this day. Till this day, it stayed with me. And I think it made me a better reporter, actually. It made me better at my job, that conversation that we had that day in the locker room. Because I felt also that he was disappointed in me, you know? And I felt it with the way he was talking to me. As I told you, you know, he had great respect for me. I had great respect for him. You know what I mean? So, and it came out being a positive thing because I think I would have, looking back, it could have been the start. Had he not called me out on it,
It could have been the start of you
of
going
me
left.
going to the wrong path, at least a path that I don't want to be involved with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could have started losing myself. I've seen it,
For sure.
with some people.
Oh, yeah.
Working in media. I've seen it.
I'm not saying names. I know names.
Yeah.
When I see these people walk in the locker room, I gotta go.
Yeah.
Right? Because I don't trust what you're gonna say.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure you're a good person outside of, you know what I mean? Like, it's hard because they're doing their jobs. You don't know who they are outside of their job, right?
Right.
And everybody's trying to be successful. And I feel like in this business, it's kind of like a crab barrel. Everybody's trying to.
It is, but you have to, and you're right in what you're saying, but you have to stay, especially nowadays because there's less and less jobs.
That's right.
But you have to be true to yourself. You got to have some core values.
Yeah.
Because when you do, it makes it so much easier to navigate through lives. That's not for me.
Yeah.
I don't need to involve with that. That's not for me. Oh, y'all doing this? All right. Good luck. I'm going home.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So yeah, it makes it easier
Do you
when
feel
you
like
know
you
who
lost-
you are and what you stand for.
And I respect you for that, obviously. And that's the one thing of every time I see you talk, there's just a sense of genuineness when you talk.
No, thank you.
But do you feel like you may have lost some opportunities from not, cheating the game in a way?
No, I gotta be cheating myself. I don't think I did.
No.
Honestly, I don't think I did. I mean, if we could, if we could go back in time with Marty McFly and Doc Brown, to my 15-year-old self, and tell me that I'm earning an honest living by covering football. I'm getting paid to watch football games.
Yeah, weekly.
I would say, sign me up.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing. Knock on wood. It's going to keep going for many more years. But yeah. So no, I mean, I'm winning.
Yeah.
I've been winning. And it's only in the past couple of years I actually realized that. You know what I mean? Like, because, I look back, because I'm someone that never takes the time, to kind of smell the roses and look back. But it's just that also, we started this conversation, you said that, you're watching me on TV when you're younger. And then after that, when you get to professional football, that's when I met you, I interviewed you and stuff. But now there's so many players that I see, and players who are playing in the CFL or just, young kids who are 14, 15 years old after the Alouettes game when the fans come on the field. And they say, I grew up watching you. I remember the first time I heard that, like, I think it was like the CFL come by. I interviewed a player and finished the interview. Because when I started, I was close in age with the players. But there was one time at the CFL Combine, I was done interviewing a player, and he said, it was an honor, being interviewed by you, and I grew up watching you. I was like, what? I was like, what you mean you grew up watching me?
That made you feel old.
Oh, man. Old, you say, man. It made me feel so old. But then I started thinking, I was like, well, I've been doing this for X amount of time.
Yeah.
So that guy was this age when I started. Yeah, I guess he did grow up watching me,
sure.
but it was so weird. But now I'm more aware of this. I'm more aware of this. And yeah.
I will tell you that also, as a young black man from Montreal, knowing your path, more people are watching than you think, indirectly, because you're kind of a role model that we see on TV, because you get to share the news of sports that we want to know about, and you're the one doing it, right? And that's why I'm telling you that the way you go about it, and I feel that there's a reason why SJ Green felt that way about you, is the eloquence in the way you go about things. Right?
No, thank you. Thank you.
And it's a big sign. And I respect you a lot for that.
Well, thank you, man. It means, it means a lot hearing that, But no, I'm aware of it. I'm aware of it because in Montreal and Quebec, I mean, now there's more, black people who are working in front of camera. But for a long time, I was pretty much only, not the only, but one of the very few black people that would work regularly in front of the camera. There are many of us. There aren't many of us, you know what I mean? And so I was always aware that I need to represent not only myself, first of all, myself. I mean, wherever you go, you're representing yourself, your name, first and foremost, but also my community. You know what I mean? So, and not just the black community, but, I have kids from, who are from, I'm looking for the word in English. Is it Arab? Is it Arabic in English? Yeah, Arabic descent. And they come up to me and say, "Hey, man, I like what you're doing. That many, non-white people, working on television. So I'm aware of it, and I try, to do my best to represent myself, to do my job the best that I can, but also to represent for the people of a multiple community, I guess, in Quebec and Montreal.
For sure.
Yeah.
And you're doing an amazing job at that. And
thank you.
And I wonder, as you're talking about the way you go about things, I wonder if more reporters were going about the business that way, because I know there are. If more of them would be that way, do you think players and coaches and leaders would verbalize things and express themselves differently, which would maybe allow you to have a better story?
Well, you have to be yourself. That's the number one thing. You can't try to be like someone. You can get inspired with someone, but you have to be yourself.
But do you think that if more reporters were more genuine in the how they conduct their business, because in the end you're always trying to extract as much information as you can,
right?
Which is why which is the art of asking questions, asking the right questions.
Yes.
And you always get the Bill Belichick that will go give you the 3-answer question, the 3-word answers, because they
mumble
just to make sure that you don't get too. And I feel like they're trying to protect themselves.
Right.
If people didn't have to be as guarded, right, do you think that there would be better stories?
Yeah. Well, it depends. I mean, for Belichick, it's not just, I think. First of all, I never talked to him. Just like you, I've seen, the press conferences on television. But I'm a big Belichick fan, so I just think he's the greatest.
Great what he did.
Greatest head football coach of the history of the NFL. But also, he's trying to avoid distraction. By saying less, as you say. What would you say earlier? Say less, right?
That's right.
Less is more sometimes, and he mastered that. Sometimes maybe it's too much, but he's trying to minimize the distraction as much as possible. You know what I mean? So that I understand. But I listen. When I look around the people that I work or are covering the Alouettes on a regular basis, I would say they're all genuine, about we all make mistakes.
But I believe that you just said. I believe that.
They all are.
I believe that.
No one's trying to get a player or a coach in trouble. You know what I mean? But sometimes you got to ask the tough questions. You have to. And it's not going to please the person that you're interviewing, but it's your job, because your job is to ask a question that the fans would like to ask, whether it's the head coach, the players. You know what I mean? Because the fans, they watch a game. They know what's going on. You know what I mean? They have questions. And especially nowadays with social media, sometimes they'll send you questions. Hey, how come they didn't do this? How come they didn't run the ball? How come this? How come that?
And that's the point. You have to know that. That's why I said as I got older, you have to know that, listen, you're 4-12. People are going to ask about that, right? Don't get mad. You know what I mean? Like, it's not personal. Sometimes it is, but it's not personal. People need to know. They're fans. You're 4-12. We need to know what's going on. Right?
They're trying to understand some of the coach's decisions in a game. You know what I mean?
But again, you're in control of how you say it.
Yes.
Right? Like you said, right? You got to find ways to say it. sometimes less is more. Sometimes you can talk about, you don't have to get emotional about it. You have to understand that as you're doing your job, people are doing their job as well.
Yeah, but it's like that in everything, right? You have to be in control of your emotions.
That's right.
Getting emotional doesn't lead to good things. Right. Usually, you know what I mean?
Sure.
It leads to a lot of regret.
100%.
You know, and I'm saying that as someone, it's a daily struggle, you know, to be in control of my emotions. You know what I mean? Or not to let my emotion take over.
Yeah.
You know, it's something that I constantly have to work on. You know what I mean? But it's like that in everything. You know, rarely something good comes out when you let, you know, your emotion takes over.
For sure.
You know,
100%. I want to talk to you about this topic, even though it happened a few months ago. That was, and it's still a talk on social media. But this was an historic moment in the NFL draft this year, and I think you know where I'm going with this. And an individual that I obviously a lot of people looked up to and had a great college career, but unfortunately the draft didn't go his way, right? And for many reasons. And I remember you taking the time to kind of follow it. You know, I know you're doing your podcast and the Sector Car, and you're doing a great job at that as well.
Thank you. And, appreciate that.
You know, if you guys not watching, watch. Shout out to Didier in his podcast, Sector Car. He does a great job weekly.
Subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Exactly. Just press subscribe.
Yeah.
You took some time to discuss that, and I was very intrigued about your opinion on it, right?
Yeah.
Because I have my opinion, and an opinion is an opinion.
What's your opinion about Shedeur?
You know, I know. The thing is, a lot of times people have an opinion when they watch something.
It was crazy. I had never seen anything like that.
But
during the NFL draft, everybody had an opinion about it. It was insane.
But unfortunately, they have never been in an NFL locker room. They've never walked through those hallways. They never understood it's a game within a game. There are certain things that it looks so glamorous, but the NFL is an amazing business. They're doing a great job. It's successful for a reason. They pretty much own Sunday, right?
Yeah.
Sunday is the day.
Sunday. They own Monday night, and then Thursday, and then
they're doing something right.
Yeah.
And there's certain organizations that do a phenomenal job, but there are some organizations, like in every sport. It may sound harsh to say that it's like a rotten organization where there's some things that happens over and over and over and over again, where they always criticize the players, but at the end of the day, it's like you change all these players, they go all these places, but it's still a bad team. It has to come from somewhere, right? But it's the same people at the top, right? So I understood the angle of what Dion was doing, right?
Right.
Because he's not the first one to do that. I think he's the first one.
And you mean like the fact that he was kind of trying to protect Shedeur by saying,
"I'm not going to let him go there." Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but here's the thing with that.
I think you were too vocal about it.
Well, Dion was talking like because. Dion basically did that when he got drafted because he was like, well, I'm not going to interview with certain teams because I'm going to be long gone by then. It doesn't make sense. Don't waste my time because he knew he was going to be a top 5 pick.
Yeah.
But Shedeur is not that type of talent.
No.
And the way they handle the process, and he's a quarterback. As you know, as a quarterback, there's certain things you cannot do. It's just the nature of the position. Right. You're the face of the franchise. So they want you to be a certain way. And color doesn't have anything to do with it. Because, and that's one thing I thought was, kind of ridiculous when people would bring the color thing, but, because, he's a black quarterback. And, okay, but Cam Ward just got drafted first overall and no one's talking about it. We have, a black quarterback who's first overall pick, and I'm old enough to remember when, there weren't that many black quarterbacks in the league. and then no one is talking about him. But now you're saying that Shedeur is not getting drafted in the first round. First of all, it wasn't sure that he was going to get drafted in the first round to begin with.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Like some people were
I
like,
was also surprised when I saw him slip out of the first round. It wasn't a shock to me.
No, it wasn't. You know, if you're someone that follows it, you know that it wasn't a shock. You know, but then when he didn't get drafted in the second round, that's when I was like, oh man,
this started something.
Yeah, exactly. And then the third round came around, and then that's when I was like, okay, this is wild now. This is you know, but all that to say that So and Shedeur didn't handle the off-season process well. It's just, you know, he didn't go to any All-Star game. He didn't throw out the combine because you have all those opportunities. And I know Shedeur is a great kid. You can tell he's so smart.
For sure.
If you watch an interview with Shedeur, you watch him at the podium during the combine, he's great. Like you can tell he's bright, you know, and you can't be a dummy playing the quarterback position, you know what I mean? So, but all those opportunities, he could have shown his personality. He could have shown how much of a hard worker he is. You know what I mean? And for those people who have, you know, a preconceived notion, view of him, he could have shown them that that's not him.
He could have.
Yeah, he could have, but he chose not to.
I hear you.
He acted like he was for sure the first overall pick, like he was, you know, like I don't know, like Trevor Lawrence when Trevor Lawrence came out of Clemson, but it wasn't the case.
So
you know what I mean?
I completely agree with you. I walked in here. I was working with my football group in the gym, and they're like, "Man, he didn't get drafted in the first round." I'm like, "Yeah, he kind of did it to himself, but." It kind of is what it is. It's the first round, whatever. Yeah. You know, it was. I already knew that it was going to be a kind of like he was going to squeeze into the first round,
right?
In my opinion,
yeah.
Right?
He wasn't going top 10, or anything like that.
I think he's a really good quarterback, right?
Yes.
I think he's a really smart quarterback. I think he, you know, he's not the most athletic. But
and you know how important
he makes really good decisions.
Yes.
You know, like
there's some pluses and minuses, but. You know how being athletic is important now at the quarterback position.
100%.
You know 100%. What I mean?
And I agree with you.
And he takes a lot of sacks.
He does.
He holds on to the ball a lot.
For sure. But that can be taught, right?
I know that it can be, but you know, what I'm trying to say is that it's not like he was a can't miss prospect.
For sure.
You know? And I'm a fan of his. I'm a fan of his. I mean, he won at Jackson State. They turned the program around. Got to Colorado, which wasn't a great team. And they won, 8 games?
Yeah.
I mean, it's an accomplishment.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
And do that quickly. It's not that he did things very fast. He was able to accomplish it. Obviously, he had structure around him. He accomplished these things very fast. With
As
a lot of
leader
pressure.
of the team, with everybody looking at him.
Yeah.
It means something.
For sure.
And all those games at Colorado were training in the fourth quarter, and he brought them back.
Yeah.
It means something.
It means something.
It means, you know.
So I agree with all you should have done this. Because I don't know what it's easy to say I would have done this in this position because I don't know what I would have done. However, I think a lot of it came from control. You know, I think
from the league.
Yes, I think when they felt too close to losing some type of control, and it bothered them, right? And when you're looking at people in power, position of power, they're in position of power. Some people do a great job in position of power, and some people, they're in position of power, and that's just what they want. They want control.
Yeah.
Right? And when they see a person like this that speaks for himself, he don't need money. Right? He's very comfortable. Right. He's got a name behind him. His dad has had a tremendous career as a player and now a tremendous career as a coach, where he's getting so much traction around. Him not getting in the first round, I get it. Second round, I get it. Moving past the fourth round, now it's becoming a point of like, okay,
That was too much.
Yes, it's a bit too much, right? He's a really good football player.
Right. Well, especially when you saw some of the quarterbacks who got drafted before him.
Exactly.
Like, okay, what are we doing here?
That's why I was like, after throwing, I was like, okay, this has gone too far, right? Like, we've seen players getting arrested, getting people going, with criminal, like there's getting drafted way before that.
He never got into trouble, but no, you're right about that. But it goes back a little bit to what you were saying earlier when you were saying, okay, there are some teams who are always bad, even when the players leave.
Yeah.
The players changes, but the culture remains the same.
Yeah.
Right? And it's not every NFL owner that's actually trying to win. And you play in the league, perhaps you know that better than I do. You probably do. Because I believe every NFL team, before a game is played, before one hot dog has been sold, I think like they get a check for over $430 million. Okay? So they're basically printing money at this point.
Yeah.
So all that to say that those owners, they didn't grow up, in football. It's for them, it's just another business.
Yep.
And that business is making money constantly.
Yeah.
So they're not, are they really trying to win? Not all of them are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the point I'm trying to make with the Shedeur thing is that if you're really trying to win, do you really let him slip all the way to the 5th round?
Come on.
What are you doing? Okay, I understand maybe, he turned you off a little bit or stuff like that, but the talent's there though.
Yeah.
And as you said, like he never got in trouble with justice or anything like that. So no, I agree with you on that.
Especially, it's just because at the end it's talk, right? And is he confident? Yes, but you want that out of the quarterback, right? Is he a bit too I think the way he expressed himself to a lot of people. But at the end of the day, when you turn on the film and you look at the resume, he's at least a third, like at the very least.
The very least, yeah.
At the very least.
Worst case scenario.
Third round pick.
Right.
And for these decisions to be made and the narrative to be turned around, well, if he had done this, he wouldn't have been in that position. I think it's a way to regain control and showing the next people in the year after, don't do that. Right.
No, it's quite possible. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you're wrong about that. Knowing the NFL, there's some shady stuff going on. I mean, look what happened a couple of weeks ago, right, with the NFLPA. The NFL and NFLPA apparently they came to an agreement not to have guarantees contract. You know what I mean? And then now the guy who was in charge of NFLPA left. So there's some stuff going on clearly. So no, I'm not going to say that you're wrong with that.
The first year in the NFL, that's when I realized how big the NFL was. When you could do the rookie symposium, the sit down, and you hear the NFL that year profited close to $18 billion that year. Profit spread into across 32 owners, right?
And that numbers, and that was like what, 8 years ago or something?
That was almost 9 years ago.
Do you know how much more they're making
now, right?
I mean, just the salary cap went up $30 million.
That's right.
In 1 year.
Yes. Why did you think that is?
Yeah.
They make a lot of money. That's why I agree. I do believe that things could have been handled differently, and we all wish you could take stuff back. We do things in the heat of the moment, we do certain things. You could have said something. You could have went to the Senior Bowl. You could have gone to the Combine. You could have done X, Y, and Z. You could have done different things. But to dehumanize a person based on what the NFL is saying without understanding what kind of business the NFL is, it's deeper than what you being as a reporter is, you only know what they want you to know.
But that's the thing with the Shedeur thing. There's so many rumors going on.
Exactly.
You don't even know what he did when he visited with the Giants. The thing is, at some point, I'm like, what is true and what's not true?
And why are we not seeing it?
There's no way for me to know sitting in my living room.
Yeah.
We
talk about Coleman's interview about him being a target, wish he have all these videos. Right. We have zero videos about what he did.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like 0 videos of him talking crazy in the interviews, but you have the craziest jokes, you post those, but you don't have those videos.
Right.
That's why it's hard to have a true full opinion of it. The only opinion I have is the opinion of a former player that has an opportunity to experience what it is in the NFL, what it is in CFL, meeting all these owners, understanding how the business work. Before we attack the person,
you have to understand the whole machine.
You have to understand how it works.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why I'm always going to root for Shedeur. I hope that he does well.
Oh, I hope so too.
Because I think as he took it too far, the NFL took it
too far also.
Too, as well, right? So, and we have to remember that he's a young man.
Yeah,
right?
no, you're right about that.
Right?
You're right about that.
That's done a really good job and has been a great leader in his team. And I think that he's a great leader. I don't think he had to be penalized to that extent. And we'll see, right? We'll see how the season unfold. But
the beauty is that he can shut up everybody.
Everyone. He has an opportunity.
He has an opportunity. You know what I mean? So I hope he's going to be able to seize that opportunity and, become the best version of himself
100%.
As a football player that he can be.
And I could tell
he is talented.
100%.
Yeah.
And I could tell the way he's conducting himself, there's things that he's learned, right?
Yeah.
And life is about experience.
Especially at that age.
That's right.
I mean, we talked about it. I mentioned it. I mean, we all make mistakes. I still make mistakes. And he's young. That's the thing. Like sometimes I just think in the media, in sports media, it's just so harsh.
Yes.
In judging. Talking about young men who are still in their 20s, getting a ton of money. You know, I'm like, okay, well, what would I have done with $50 million at 22 years old? Probably nothing good.
Exactly.
You know? So, heck, I mean, I told you I was in college, I wasn't focused, I wasn't making any money. So can you imagine if I had money back then? So with the NIL and everything, I would have lost my mind. But I just think sometimes, the media is harsh because those are young men who are only a few years removed from being teenagers.
100%.
You know, but we lose that in perspective. You know,
for sure. No, I appreciate you sharing that. You know, and being genuine with that as well. You know, as we're kind of ending the show here, I want to know. Through all your football career, all your journey as an analyst, reporter, TV host, what drives you? What's your why? What is it that motivates you every day?
Well, there is no finish line. You know, you have to start over constantly, right? I can do a story or host a game. It goes well, but guess what? The next day, you're saying, oh, it's a little bit boring. It's always the same thing. Well, there it is. The next day, what you did yesterday doesn't matter. It's the same thing in sport. You're only as good as your last game, right? So it's the exact same thing. At least to me, it is. It doesn't matter if on Monday I did a good story, if my story on Tuesday is no good. It doesn't matter. I have to start over again then on Wednesday. Same thing every time you go on air. And it was the same thing. So I'm always trying to get better. I'm always looking for something I can improve on, you know. It's always about, I think, being honest with yourself, with the man in the mirror, to look, you know, inside, to look inward.
For sure.
A lot of people are unable to look inward, you know. So I make an effort to look inward, to be like, all right, what can I improve on? And also, you know, to evolve, not to stay the same, because everything changes. You know, everything changes, especially nowadays. Look at how everything changed. It's changed since 2020, since the pandemic. Things aren't going back to the way they were.
No.
And we can't even imagine how things are going to be in 5 years from now, because everything changes, evolves so quickly daily, you know, with AI. You know, a lot of things are going to be different. I know a lot of things are going to be different in 5 years. How exactly, I'm not sure. But so you have to evolve. You have to make an effort. You have to be open to change. You can't fight change, you know. But some people are always trying to resist to change.
Because it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, it is uncomfortable. But, you know, some good things come out from being uncomfortable, you know. And it's true. It's not cliche. It's true.
Yeah.
You know, if you're comfortable, well, this means that you're not growing, you're not evolving, you're not changing.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So many people, they get older, but they don't grow up.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have no interest in that. You know? So that's the thing with my job, just like anything else, there is no finish line. You have to start over constantly. And I welcome that challenge. I like it. To me, all right, it's challenging, but all right, you know, let tomorrow the Alouettes are playing against the Stampeders. I'm going to go on air. I want to do well. What I did today doesn't mean anything. It won't mean anything tomorrow. So, all right, cool. I'm up for it. So it's fun. It's just like in sport. That's why I still work out. That's why I picked up boxing, close to 7 years ago, because I was getting bored just lifting weights and do cardio afterwards, you know what I mean? I wanted something that would be more challenging physically and mentally. And the minute I tried it, actually I started in Muay Thai and then I made the switch to just boxing. But I fell in love with it right away because it challenged me so much physically and mentally, you know what I mean? The technique and stuff like that. So, so it's about having that drive to challenge yourself.
For sure.
You know, some people have it, some people don't, though.
Yes.
Some people have no interest in that.
I think at some point in my life, I've always been very hard on myself. Very, very, very hard.
I'm sure. I mean, because if you weren't, there's no way you would have accomplished what you've accomplished as an athlete, as a football player. You know, especially coming from university football here all the way to the NFL. The odds are completely stacked against you. You know what I mean? Even though now there's more players who are making that transition, but still, it's not easy to do.
No, definitely, especially not at the DB position.
Yeah, I can just imagine.
It's difficult. I'm very, very, from a young age, and people always say you're too hard on yourself. That's just something that I just maybe got from, you know, my family or whatever, my environment. But there's something where you just said something about the man in the mirror and kind of looking at yourself. This is, at some point in my life, I was forced to do that. I had to look at the man in the mirror because I had a lot of time with all these injuries. I had to look at myself,
right?
And it's very uncomfortable.
Yeah, it is. Huh?
You know what I mean? I
think we all reach that point at some point.
If you don't, you will never move forward.
Yeah.
You can't. You have to.
Yeah.
You have to. You have to sit in it for a little bit.
It's to be honest with yourself.
You have to.
Yeah.
Right? And figure out, okay, these are the things I do well. I need to improve these things. I see what certain people are seeing, and I understand why they may think of me this way. And you have to sit in that, right? Don't run away from it. Right? Don't run away from it. Sit in it and understand it. And once you do that, once you're able to do that, that's really how you can take the next step. But if you're not a highly motivated person, if you don't have that, why would you look at yourself in the mirror that way?
Right.
What's the need? Right? I don't have a sense of purpose, so like, I'm okay now, so why would I have to be uncomfortable like this? I'm a human being. Everybody makes mistakes. Yes, everybody makes mistakes, but doesn't mean that you got to keep making the same mistakes every day. You know?
Repeating those mistakes constantly.
Exactly. You got to do something about it, right?
Yeah.
So, no, I appreciate you sharing that. I know that you're a thinker, and I know that you're a man that speaks very well, and I have actually ask a ton of questions every day.
Yeah.
What's a question that's on your heart I would like to ask? You like to ask the next guest?
Simply, how are you going to get better today? Because that's the chase, right? As we just got done, discussing. I mean, about evolving, about changing. How are you going to get better today? How are you going to challenge yourself today? Those challenges, they come in many ways, whether it's in the gym, at work, starting a business. Also, as you said, looking at yourself inward, looking at yourself in the mirror, that's a big challenge. How are you going to be how are you going to be challenging yourself today or tomorrow? Depending on what time you're going to be recording. How are you going to be challenging yourself?
I love that question.
What
can you do better today?
Because I know you challenge yourself. You know, you're not satisfied with, you know, what you did in the past because, you know, as I said, the past doesn't exist. It's in the past. You know, you've accomplished a lot, but you can't just sit here and say, all right, I'm done. You know what I mean? Like,
100%.
you know, there's still a lot that you can accomplish, that you can do.
For sure.
Yeah. So, yeah. How are you going to get better today?
Thank you.
It's always that.
For sure.
You know?
The minute you wake up.
Yeah. The minute you wake up, like, what are you going to do? So, yeah, that's my question for your next guest.
Thank you. Thank you. Lastly, I have a question for you as I think we haven't had a chance to talk about it in this interview yet, in this podcast, but obviously you walked in here, I kind of gave you a tour of it. And
yeah,
I
nice gym, man. It's a nice facility.
Thank you so much.
It's really nice.
I appreciate it, and I'm very fortunate to be.
You got everything an athlete needs here.
Thank you.
You know, all at one spot, on one location, you know.
I appreciate that.
So I wish I was still, you know, I'm still an athlete. I'm always going to be an athlete, but, you know, like it's not my priority, even though, yes, it is my priority. First thing in the morning, I wake up, I go to the gym, but, you know, I forget who I was talking to at the gym. I was like, man, wouldn't it be easy if all we could do is work out?
Yes,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you know, work out twice a day and that's it.
100%.
So,
no, I appreciate it. I'm very fortunate to have great partners here that allow this place to be so special, and this
can't
idea
do it by yourself. Can't do anything great by yourself.
100%. It comes from family, you know, and I'm very fortunate to be here working with people that I consider family, which is why I really wanted to put that. Obviously, the sign on the wall family came from an idea from one of the athletes that I've worked with for many years.
Okay.
So you should put that on the wall, and family is a big thing here, you know. And I would like to ask you, what does family means to you?
Family, you know, it's people that you can trust, people that are loyal, that you know they have your back, you know, no matter what. And they have your back and they want you to succeed. You know, they want what's best for you. They're going to call you out on your BS, but because they love you, you know what I mean? And they want what's best for you. And sometimes they see things in you that you're not even seeing yourself. You know what I mean? And family is not always blood. As you said, you know, not everyone here is blood related. Even though you said, you know, this is a family. You know, sometimes you choose your family. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's what it means to me. Yeah, I would say. Yeah.
Appreciate that. Trust is not only in family, but also in business is a big thing. And that's something that you learn over time. Trust is very easy to lose, but it's very hard to gain, because as we talked about before, it's about the reps. You got to be consistent to gain trust, right?
Right.
Whenever you have an opportunity, you have to be consistent in that, right? The minute you sway, now people start looking at you and they don't know how much they can trust you or not, right? You can lose it fast, right? But it takes a long time to gain. And when you have somebody that you trust in your life, you want to hold on to that person because that person showed you consistently that you can trust them, right? And not many people do that, right? So
you have to take care of those people.
That's right.
Because ain't that many of them.
That's right.
You know, that's one thing I realized. When you come across a person that you can trust, you have to take care of them.
That's right.
You know, you have to, because once they're out of your life, you kind of regret. You're like, man, I should take better care of that person.
That's right.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate that, and I appreciate you taking the time to come here.
Yeah, man, I'm glad as you said earlier, it was like 3 months ago or something.
Yeah.
When you sent me a DM and you asked me if I wanted to come, I told you, when the Alouettes played in Calgary. So, I'm glad we were able to do it.
100%.
I'm glad that you were able to reverse the table on me, ask me questions instead of me asking you questions. So, listen, I hope the podcast, you keep at it and keep at it, with the gym here. It's a nice playground, you know. There's a
That's
lot
right,
of there's a lot of nice toys. I'm looking at those bikes. I'm like, man, we could do some cardio there, do some sprints on the bike. So no, it's awesome. So just keep it up.
Thank you so
You're
much.
on the right path.
I appreciate it.
You're on the right path. Just keep going.
Thank you.
So many things are just about keep going,
For sure.
not stopping, not quitting. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to do the same too. You know what I
appreciate
mean?
it.
So.
And just know, like I said in it, people look up to you, right? So, and the way you go about things. And as I enter this world, I do watch what you do and how you go about things.
Oh, thank you.
And again, biggest thing I try to do every day is being genuine and be myself, right? And I know you're great at that, right? You're always authentic, being yourself.
Oh my gosh!
Right?
Oh, thank you, man.
So,
those are some nice compliments. It was hard just to be myself, you know, because I think that as we grow up, grow older, yeah, you know, it wasn't easy growing up, you know, being myself, you know. You always think that, oh, you know, I'm not that good, I'm not that smart, I'm not, you know.
What's this person going to think?
What's that?
What's this person going to think? Should I do this?
Yeah, exactly. You're always comparing yourself to others and stuff like that. Like to feel good in your own skin is quite an achievement, you know.
Sure.
And you know, we always end up doubting ourselves and stuff like that. But I think in that regard, I came a long way when I think about, you know, when I think about the kid that I was, you know what I mean? But again, everything is a constant battle, you know what I mean? Everything it's daily that you have to start over, you know.
Sure.
So yeah.
Well, tomorrow you have an opportunity to do it again.
Yeah.
And I know that you're going to attack the opportunity the right way and do it the same way you've been doing it. I hope that you have a great time in Calgary.
Thank you.
You just came here after the Calgary Stampede, which was a great event.
Yeah,
here.
you know what? I've never been here during the Stampede.
You
I
have
don't
to
think
do it.
the Owls ever played here during the Stampede.
They don't. They won't.
Yeah.
Because people won't go to the game.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's why.
So usually during the Stampede, the Stamps play
The
on
city,
the road?
Yeah, the city shuts down.
Oh, okay,
Right?
completely.
And I'm sure that you're working at the time, but if you haven't had an opportunity, it's a phenomenal time in Calgary.
Right.
You know, so maybe one time we'll have to invite you here and enjoy the culture of Calgary.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? I've been here so many times, but you know, usually they're short trips, right? You know, I arrive the day before the game, and then I'm gone after the game or the next morning. I don't know anything about the culture here. I mean, I know it's great for the outdoors. If you like the outdoors, I mean, it seems like it's a great place,
Amazing, yeah.
you know. But for all those times I've been coming here, I've never experienced what really Calgary has to offer. You know,
sure.
they're always business trip, essentially.
Well, the Calgary Stampeders are part of the culture, so you get to experience that tomorrow.
Okay.
And you know, it's gonna be a great game. You know, this is gonna be a game that people want to see. You know,
Yeah, the Stamps have been looking great.
Yeah.
I mean, especially the last 3 weeks. I mean, and Damon Alford, man.
Yeah.
He's having a
He's
great
doing
start to his career.
You know, representing Montreal. You know, he's been doing a great thing. So we're looking forward to watching the game. And thank you again for coming in. You know,
Thanks for inviting me, man.
I appreciate it. And you know, you have a big day tomorrow, so I don't want to hold you back too long. But
Yeah, the time difference. Yeah, I'm feeling it now. I'm feeling it now. It's past my bedtime.
No, I'm sure. So get some rest. You know, thanks again. You know, thank you guys for watching this episode. This was a true pleasure to have you here.
No, thank you. Thank you very much.
And I hope
Appreciate
that you guys
you.
enjoyed, you know, because you have a lot of great things to say, and you know, and I wish you the best. So thank you so much for coming in.
All right, thank you, Elie. Thank you, man.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks.
All right, my man.